Hello.
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 Yeah, Bhumika, we can start.
Okay, great.
Vrajras
Okay.
Prabhu, we can start.
We started. Okay. So, hello everyone. I cordially invite you all on the webinar on parenting, the Bhagavad Gita way. I am Bhumika. I am the product manager of Manager-Myedubag. Manager-Myedubag is an initiative in school education by IDeserve Education Private Limited. It is based in New Delhi, and we are operational from 2018 and have worked in 4 different segments of school education, namely self-learning, distribution, publishing, and homeschooling through live classes. Currently, we are active in 190 schools and have more than 1 lakh customers across India. And to address various issues that are revolving around parenting, today we are organizing this session and webinar on parenting, the Bhagavad Gita way. So I cordially invite you all once again. And before moving forward, I would like to introduce our scholar of the day. So today we have a renowned scholar, Vrajras,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, who will be enlightening us with the sayings of Bhagavad Gita. He is a monk in the bhakti tradition and has been studying, practicing, and sharing the teachings of Bhagavad Gita over the last 2 decades. His deep desire is to grow the spiritual life and serve humanity has inspired him to dedicate his life to the cause and join the Montessori of ISKCON Chapati in Mumbai about 15 years back, where he has systematically trained and has taken training in spiritual literatures. Over the years, he has been inspiring hundreds of youth all over the world through practical applications of spiritual practices in order to improve the quality of life and in order to give them a better living. Over the 10 years, he has also been into education field and has been an education minister at Govardhan Eco Village, a sustainable and eco-friendly village, and has been awarded, the village has been awarded, and he has been awarded a lot of awards by United Nations. At present, he is based in USA at Bhakti Yoga Society at Delaware as a teacher, as a counselor, as well as he has dedicated his life to impart spiritual learnings within children. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, Bhumika.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone, all of you, for joining. And I'm really grateful to Manager-Myedubag that they have given me an opportunity where I can share what I've experienced, share what I've been learning with all of you. First, let me offer some prayers. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurum Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Staptam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Supravantam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganalaita Shri Vishakham. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagate Gopesh Gopika Radha Kanta Namostute Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishtaya Bhutale Shmati Bhakti Vedanta Namine ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम. Thank you. So it's a big pleasure to speak on the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, and especially I believe everyone can see my screen, right? So it's a great pleasure to speak on the next day of Gita Jayanti. Yesterday was the advent of the Bhagavad Gita, and today we are here going to talk about parenting the Bhagavad Gita way. And you might be thinking, that what this monk is doing here in regards parenting, because monks are those people, those who have taken vow to remain celibate. So it's like, a culture shock for people of India, especially, that how this monk is talking about parenting, but parenting principles in Bhagavad Gita and are basically derived from the teachings of Krishna to Arjuna. Every teacher is a leader, and every leader is a teacher, and every parent is a leader and a teacher. So there are lots of duties which are common between them. A good leader has to be a good teacher and a parent, like that. So children don't do actually, what their parents tell them to do. Children do what their parents do. They perform in action. And many times the children, they keep an eye on the parents. And the parents are under 24 hours surveillance. That what, the children, they are looking, what they're learning from the parents. So how do we perform such activities and what do we learn from Bhagavad Gita? We'll just quickly look into it. So parenting is very much like a surgery, and only the surgeon knows what has happened behind the closed doors. And the parent is very much like a surgeon, where what has happened to the child will manifest after years. So parenting includes responsibility, accountability to God. Whatever the parents does will affect the child for the whole life, right? So we need to understand that. Now let us go ahead and see how this parenting is included in Bhagavad Gita. So just giving a overview that how Krishna and Arjuna are in a relationship of parenting. Initially, the relationship is horizontal. Krishna is a friend, Arjuna is a child, he's a friend. So the child and parents, they are friends, and they want their parents to be friends. But in this relationship where Krishna and Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita are close friends, buddies, the relationship turns out to be vertical. In the second chapter, where initially Arjuna is thinking, that why should I fight? And he's totally despondent. And at that moment, at that onset, he is coming up with the understanding of this verse which I've mentioned. Karpanya doshu pahat subhava prachami tvam dharma samudda cheta yat shreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanna. Here Arjuna is stepping down from the friendship level to the student level, to the child level, and he's addressing Krishna that, I am under confusion. I want to know what is my nature, what is dharma. He's saying that, I am your student. Shishyasteham. Shishya means student, right? So Shishyasteham shadimam tam prapannam. So that is what we need to understand here, that yes, Bhagavad Gita is the book where I have to study it and impart it to my child. And then what else happens? The question is arised by Arjuna is arising in every parent's life and every child's life. Every parent is confused at a particular point of time, and every child is confused. So we need to understand that at that time, what Krishna is behaving like, how Krishna is working like, we have to learn from his character. That is happening in Bhagavad Gita. So then what is the next thing? Certain points which Krishna is reflecting for parents is Krishna is telling. Krishna is actually delineates. He actually delineates and responds to a majestic worldview, which reveals to us systematically our place and purpose in this world. A parent should be like that. A parent should give the child the whole worldview. He should not just keep the child in a incubator, thinking, just asking the child to do what they want. So what is important in the next point, what the slide is showing, is about command and call. Now over here you're seeing that this parent is asking something. It's a reactive parent. The commanding parent is a reactive parent, and the proactive parent. So what is Bhagavad Gita telling about it? So Krishna interestingly concludes the Bhagavad Gita not with a command, but he completes it as much with a call. Command means you do this, and call means inviting. You may do this. So that's where he's saying in 18.63, the verse is talking about that. And furthermore, Krishna and Arjuna's relationship is becoming more respectable. Arjuna is respecting more. Initially, Arjuna is not able to understand some things because of that understanding of being a friend. But in the 11th chapter, as we move ahead, Arjuna is seeing the universal form of the Lord. And in that, we understand, Krishna says that, Arjuna, if you want to understand me, I will show you my universal form. So that's how Krishna is, as a parent, he's trying to show to Arjuna, that, I am your parent because I am majestic. So sometimes as parents, you have to show them that, okay, you are senior to them. When Arjuna, a child realizes then that actually, I was dealing very friendly with you, Krishna, but now I understand your majesty. So I'm going to hear you. So sometimes we have to do that, as Krishna did in Bhagavad Gita. And of course, there are certain points like Krishna is using to enlighten Arjuna. Krishna is saying that, Arjuna, you have to be enlightened. So one stream is enlightenment and another stream is encouragement. And we will talk this further more about what is enlightenment and encouragement as we go on. Moving ahead, we have to also understand from the point of Bhagavad Gita that there are 4 types of parents. And these 4 types of parents, the best type of parent is one who gives choices to the child. And even Krishna is giving choice to Arjuna in 18:158. Machitta sarva durgani. It says, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all obstacles by my grace. He's saying, if you become conscious of me, this is the consequence. So we have to be telling the child, as parents, that we have to make sure that our child is conscious of us. And the vice versa, we should be conscious of our child. So in either cases, the child and the parent, especially the parent more because the child is in the young age, the parent has to work with the principles mentioned by Krishna. You see here in the picture that work without Krishna and working with Krishna, how it works. So that's where Krishna is further telling that I have explained you the knowledge which is more confidential. It's very confidential. And then Krishna, as the parent, instructs the child or teaches the child, and the child has to deliberate. Arjuna, Krishna as a parent, is telling to Arjuna, Arjuna, deliberate. And further, we see as Arjuna deliberates, Krishna says that since you are deliberating, you have to do what next? You have to learn the knowledge from me, the most confidential knowledge, which is very much benefited for you. Many times we as parents, we think that what knowledge we are giving is the most confidential knowledge. But actually, first we have to understand that we have to come to that level of imparting that knowledge. So first we have to grab that knowledge. And that's where Krishna is talking to Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, please try to understand. I love you very strongly. I love you. And the parent has to say the same thing. The parent has to come up and say, I love you. So that mood of, parenting is something which is about inquiring. Here in this verse, Krishna is saying, O son of Pratha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? Are you ignorant? Are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? So inquiry is also very much important, which Krishna, after speaking the whole Bhagavad Gita is 18 chapters. And these are the last few verses. And in this, Krishna is saying, oh, we can admit someone here is waiting on Shurya. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, please try to understand. If I'm not able to understand you, then I'm going to speak to you again. Don't worry. So these are certain points which I wanted to share on the basis of Bhagavad Gita. I believe that now we have got little picture of how Bhagavad Gita can be related to parenting. And I will like to know if there is any questions.
Yeah, thank you, sir, so much. Thank you for enlightening us with all the knowledge and how parenting can be, connected with Bhagavad Gita. So there are further few questions that we would like to ask you and would like you to enlighten us more about.
Surely.
The first question is, sir, as you know that in this era, a child is surrounded with technology all the time, right? So we just want to know, how shall we expect a parent-child relationship in this era where the child is 24/7 surrounded by either a gadget or technology or something like that? So, yeah. How it's going to impact the relationship between the parent and the child.
Great. So your question, as I've understood, is there is so much of technology going on, and we expect, that in that technology world, the child should accept what the parent is telling and the parent is doing and parent wants us to do. And it's very common nowadays because of COVID, the technology, the gadgets have reached to even villages, right? And the parents staying in the villages also. The parents staying in the villages also, they are like, wondering, that our children are more spending time with the gadgets than us. So how do we reconcile this understanding? So first of all, I'll tell you a small story of Janak Maharaj. Janak Maharaj is the father of Mother Sita. Every one of us know him very well. And Janak Maharaj once went to a great sage, and his name was Ashtavakra Muni. He was bended from 8 sides. His body was bent from 8 points. He went to Ashtavakra Muni and he asked Ashtavakra Muni that, how can I get rid of material attachment? Now, generally, these questions, when asked by someone who is a king, it's like a fun, it's like a fun question. Why a king want to get free from material attachment? He has to perform so many duties and so many other things. So Ashtavakra Muni immediately gets up from his seat and start running, and he runs to a tree and he catch hold of the tree, and he's shouting that, oh tree, please leave me, oh tree, please leave me. And seeing him, all his disciples in his room, in his ashram, and everyone, they start thinking, what happened to our Guruji? Why is talking like this? They are saying that, Guruji, you have caught the hold of the tree. The tree has not caught hold of you. The Ashtavakra Muni is trying to show, that this is our situation. We want to ask questions, but we don't want to apply it in our life. We don't want to apply the solutions in our life. So this is what is happening, that we want children to give up gadgets, but we want for ourselves more. Of course, when you're working, but many of the parents, apart from their free time, also in their free time, they're sitting with their gadgets. They're trying to socialize with the world rather than socializing with the children. And the child sees the same thing. And in the evening, in this pandemic time, everyone is sitting at the home and everyone is busy with their own mobiles. Everyone is busy with their own stuffs. So very important thing in this section is to understand, that teaching is not set of instructions, but it means variety of approaches. One should be well prepared to deal with the child. It is not only that I will give you instructions and you have to follow that, but don't come to see me. What am I doing? Am I following those instructions or not? Not. So that's where we have to be very conscious, what we are trying to do. And also another point I want to raise out here is parenting principles are something which are very much involved in Bhagavad Gita. As I've already told you about parenting principles, certain principles I've spoken about, but there are few more principles which I would like to share today in front of you. As I was talking about, that the parents, they have different moods. So these gadgets, they are totally related to our modes of consciousness. Now the child is playing PUBG or the child is playing some other games while going online, classes are going on. Can you believe that? Online class is going on, the teacher is saying, and the child has switched off the video and he is trying to play another game. And the mom is cooking and he's thinking my child is studying.
Yeah, right.
And that's where, that's a big challenge, that how to avoid this thing, because this has become common. And the teachers cannot request the child always to keep the video on, because the child may be staying in a small house where there are a couple of things going on, maybe another sibling studying on another internet, and so many other issues are there. So we have to tell the child in a way which is actually his understanding. For an example, let's say you might come and tell me that, my child comes in late night at home and he starts playing, like when we come out from outside, he comes and he starts playing piano. Here in America, piano is a very common thing. So he comes and play piano and it's so disturbing. Instead of sleeping, he's doing that. So how can I say no to him or her? And the answer is that you have to tell the child, that actually, there is another beautiful thing which is waiting for you. Something which is attracting to that child. The principle of attraction works here, right? So in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says to Arjuna, Kama esha krodesha rajoguna samuttaha. It says that Arjuna, a living entity. All of us, we are attracted to this material world. We are trying to enjoy this world, but we are suffering. So what we have to understand, we have to look for higher taste where the suffering is not there. What is that higher taste? That higher taste is basically getting connected to the divine. The divine intervention has to happen. So these are certain points regarding this question. And if you have any else, if I've satisfied you with this question.
Yes, I am glad that I asked this question and I got such insights into the answer and Bhagavad Gita again. So the second question that I would really like to ask you is that, while there is a duty of every parent to be there for his or her child, right?
Mhm.
But some parents tend to take this a step further, and actually prevent their child from getting very, very significant experiences of their lives, right?
Mhm.
So what impact can this overprotectiveness of parents, to protect them from everything, can have on the child? This is
Right.
yeah.
As I've understood your question rightly, what you're asking is over possessiveness, over protectiveness of parents towards the
Yeah,
children, right?
right.
Mhm. Great. So we'll try to logically understand that what is overprotectiveness for a child. In the process of overprotectiveness, what we try to do is we try to demoralize the child. Hmm? We try to
Okay.
tell the child, that do these things. Always we try to say the child that I could not do this in my life, so I want you to do this. I could not go to IIT. I want you to go to IID. I could not become a doctor. I want you to become doctor. So what we are trying to do is what we were not able to achieve, we are demanding that from the child. That let me, demand it from my child. But actually, in the real sense, what we have to do is we have to keep the achievements or the thoughts what we are having aside, and the role of the parent is to assist the achievement of the child. What the child wants to be as an achiever, you know so the parent's role is to achieve the child's ambitions, not overimposing or becoming overprotective, thinking that I know everything, and that's how this is how the child is going to behave. Yes, of course. Chanakya Pandit says that from the age of 0 to 5, you have to pamper the child as much as you can. And from 5 to 10, this is the age of discipline. Discipline means not punishment. Many of the times we say that, disciplines means punishment. In our school days, I remember in Mumbai, I was studying, and my teachers, all glories to them, but the way of teaching they had was a very harsh punishment. Won't describe those kinds of punishments we have gone through. So discipline is not punishment. Discipline means rules. Rules can be applied without physically hampering any child. Physical hamperment to the child here in America is a child abuse program. It's crazy, of course. The child is taught here in America from childhood that if a parent does anything, just dial 911, and we are there to protect you. So it so happened that the child was crying, he was demanding for something, and the parents, like they were saying, will not do this now, and the child was crying and not stopping, and the neighbors, they complained the police that the child is crying in their house. And if the child says, yes, my parents have treated me that way, then the parents are in the jail. Anyways, this is the system of the government here, but the Vedic system, the Gurukul system, which Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita, that there are actually designed, there are 4 varnas and 4 ashrams designed, the classes of people design, the classes of families are designed. So when the child is young, it has to go to a gurukul, a school where that thing has been taught. The discipline thing has been taught through rules, through experiential learning. Okay. So that is how we to understand that when rules are applied, the child till the age of 10 will respect you. But if you start applying those rules strictly after the age of 10, then what will happen? The child will rebel. Rebellion nature will come out, because as the child grows up, becomes stronger, he or she becomes stronger, and there is where we need to understand that there is the hormones are changing, the desires are changing, and in that case, if we have very strict rules, then the child will rebel. So I believe I have satisfied you with this question.
Sure, sir. Sure. Totally. Thank you again for telling us about all this. And also totally, and as a person, I completely agree with you that as a parent, we tend to burden our child with our own ambitions. And that is what is resulting in this overprotectiveness. And, because we imagine a particular image of a child, and then we try to shape the child within that image, whereas that should not be the case. Thank you, sir, again. So the third question that I would like to ask you is that just like adults, just like we all, children also face, like a lot of stressful situations in their lives. So how can we prepare our child, or how can we help them to manage these stressful situations in their life as a child?
Exactly. So I would like to share with you this slide where Bhagavad Gita is talking about individual natures. So most of the time, we are the reason, as parents, we become the reason of stress. And we don't understand that the child is actually, a separate living entity, a separate person from us. We think that, oh no, it's my child. I'm going to, I know what he's doing. I know what she's doing. And as soon as the child is born, everyone says, ye kis pe gaya hai? So somebody says that, oh, he's gone on father, his face looks like father, like that. So parents, they want that the child should do something what they are doing. So that in that process, the individuality of the child is lost. And that's where Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 33rd verse says that even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows the nature he is acquired from the 3 modes. So the child is carrying he's carrying burden. He's carrying a burden, or he's carrying some kind of an impressions from his previous life. And that impression, what he's carrying from the previous life, is actually, affecting his consciousness. And we need to understand that that individual is a living entity, is coming from eternity. But out of love and affection of so much, we try to dissolve his individuality. So initially, up till 5 years, that's fine. You are a lot of pampering and this. And then Bhagavad Gita says that by following the qualities of work, means every child has a particular quality. Every child has 4 personalities in themselves. Every person has 4 personalities in themselves. One of the personalities is basically, they are physical, they are intellectual, they are spiritual, they are emotional. And these 4 things are present in every child with different varied percentages. Somebody is 50% physical, somebody is 10% emotional, 30% spiritual, and like percentages are differing. Somebody is 110% intellectual, So Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual books, will provide the child the emotional and spiritual percentages. Overall personality is grown when all these percentages are balanced. And those people are the leaders of the society. Let's, for an example, let's take a material example of Narendra Modi. Now he is a leader of the society. He's a Prime Minister of India, and he's a balanced personality because he is having a physical percentage balanced with the emotional, with the spiritual, and the intellectual. Everything is balanced. In any sector you talk about corporates. So a parent should be also becoming like that. A parent just want my child should be like that. But the parent, if is not becoming like that, then what will happen? Whatever is lacking in the parent, the child will grab that very fast. And that's where Bhagavad Gita says that by worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection, so performing his own work. This is the instruction to Arjuna. Very much fitting to our life, Okay. And that's where we also train the child to understand his nature, try to understand the child's nature, and try to engage the child in his occupational nature, even though one may perform it imperfectly. We want our child to become doctor, engineer. Here in America, every American Indian, NRI, wants their child to become a doctor because it's a big money, And that's where we understand that we are forcing the child to have an occupation. We may think that the child may do this perfectly, but let the child do something which is for his nature or her nature, and that will help the child to grow better. So we also have to understand that the way we behave with the child is going to behave with us. And let me play a small clipping for you on this understanding of what a child is, what a child-parent relation should be there. Give me a second. I'll just play it. You have to just tell me whether you are able to hear it or not.
Yes.
I'm going to share the computer sound.
Audible.
Are you able to see and hear?
Audible.
ไม่ไปโรงเรียนเหรอ
112แล้วก็จำนวนถัดไปคืออะไรสุธีต่อไปเป็นอะไรครับ
ก็เห็นใจของแกนะ แต่ที่นี่โรงเรียนมันไม่ใช่บ้าน
นั่นดิเด็กจะเอาสมาธิที่ไหนไปเรียนนะ
เห็นลูกบอกว่าบางทีอ่ะก็ให้เด็กคอยนั่งเฝ้าด้วยนะ
นะดูแลแม่ครูให้ครับ
เอาแม่มาทุกวันแบบเนี้ยสงสารเด็ก
จริงๆอะหาคนดูแลเป็นเรื่องเป็นราวอะดีกว่า
เนี่ยผมก็มาคิดว่าผมจะลูกไปเรียนที่อื่น
สวัสดีลูกสวัสดีครูประจักษ์ผมขอคุยด้วยหน่อยครับ
แม่
ครูครับผมกลับก่อนนะครับ
ครับสวัสดีครับผู้ปกครองพูดกันมาเยอะผมว่าครูประจักษ์ต้องคิดเรื่องนี้อย่างจริงจังแล้วล่ะครับผมพอจะหาคนดูแลแม่ครูได้นะขอบคุณนะครับผอ.แต่แม่ของผมให้คนอื่นดูแลแทนไม่ได้เอาเป็นว่าแม่สักครู่นะครับ
รถให้แม่นั่ง
เป็นอะไร
แม่จอด
อะไรอะลูก
ยาย จะไปไหนครับ
ที่ผมนัดผู้ปกครองมาวันนี้ ก็ได้เรื่องที่หลายท่านร้องเรียนกันมา นั่นคือเรื่องครูประจักษ์แม่ แม่ของครูประจักษ์เป็นโรคสมองเสื่อมและการที่แกพาแม่มาโรงเรียนด้วยก็อาจจะสร้างความลำบากใจให้กับหลายๆท่านครูประจักษ์บอกผมว่าแกมีแม่อยู่คนเดียวและแม่แกก็มีแกคนเดียวที่ผ่านมามีหลายโรงเรียนต้องการครูประจักษ์ไปสอนแต่แกก็ปฏิเสธเพราะอยากอยู่ใกล้แม่ครูประจักษ์มักพูดเสมอว่าแม่คือผู้ให้ชีวิตเอาละครับ เราทุกคนมีสิทธิ์ที่จะปกป้องคนที่เรารักถ้าท่านใดในห้องนี้เห็นว่าครูประจักษ์ไม่มีความเหมาะสมกับการเป็นครูที่นี่ขอให้ไปลงรายชื่อกันนะครับแม่แม่แม่
ไม่ไปโรงเรียนเหรอ
So thank you very much for watching the video. I hope the message is very clear that we have to have that gratitude towards the parents. So similarly, we should have a gratitude towards the children. The parents over here, the teacher was trying to take care of the mother, and the parents were not thinking about the children. They were just thinking that, giving the facilities like phone, laptop, gadgets, food, shelters, nice school is what all in all is. So that's where we need to understand that no, that is not sufficient. Important is to understand what is required for the child. The child needs 3 things. I'm going to just share a slide over here. Give me a second. Yeah. The child needs three things. The child needs inspiration, and that inspiration involves three things. First is the parent should provide knowledge, the parent should set an example, and the third thing is the parent should facilitate. In this situation of pandemic and everything, the parents have forgotten to give inspiration to themselves, because the external situations are so much we are dependent on, and that's why facilities are important. But at the same time, the knowledge is given by the schools, and you have to choose the right school where your child has to go. You cannot just say that this school is going to be best for me because this school is giving my child an education and a good job. That is not sufficient. I remember in my childhood days, we were sent to a school where we were trained in Bhagavad Gita shlokas. We were told about the principles and the values. We were told about how to behave. So behavioral pattern is not only about training the children into the material aspects, but also in the spiritual aspects. Further, we need to understand that over here in the parenting principle, the one of the most important thing is setting up the example. Many times we try to give knowledge to the students, and the student or the parents, as parents we try to give knowledge to the child, and that is given by Krishna to Arjuna, and that is enlightenment, as we were talking earlier. So enlightenment sometimes is like alienating. Sometimes it happens so that we try to think that I'm trying to enlighten my child, I'm going to give the knowledge to my child should do like this. But that should not be like that. Enlightenment should be more in the reason, in the sense that the child feels that yes, my parent wants me to do that. It should not be a shoot down command, sit down, stand up. So enlightenment with encouragement is important. So encouragement is basically, understanding of encouragement is upliftment, not encouraging the child to do wrong things. And that's why we have to understand that the child is divided into 4 categories. So parent is divided into 4 categories, and these categories I have mentioned here in this slide. 4 categories of parents. Yeah, here it is. These 4 categories of parents, you may choose yourself, and you can raise your hand, or you can tell that I am in this category on the chat or something like that. In which category you are falling. The first category is neither love nor discipline. The parents are trying to not do anything. They are just busy in their life. Another category is some parents who offer neither offer love, but they are not able to discipline. And that's where it leads to permissive parents. I love you, therefore how can I correct you? My child is robbing, he's doing robbery. My child is doing this, but I love my child. So how can I correct my child? We should give freedom, but also there is a responsibility when there is love. If a mother says that I love my child and let my child let her or she do anything. The child is going and standing in the middle of the traffic on a square. Oh, I love my child. Let him or her do anything. So let us not try to become such kind of parent. And the other thing is that the child are subordinate to their parents, and they may go down and obey, but when they grow older, they will become rebel. So just don't discipline the child. The third category, just keep disciplining. And another point is choices. What kind of choices we are making? We already talk about it. But when stress is there, the problem is what? When stress is there, the problem is we forget about making right choices. And that's where as I was talking, deliberation becomes weak with the parents itself. And they are not able to decide, and they give that stress to the child. So the solution is this. This is how we have to behave when the child is in stress. Ask these questions to the child. Are you troubled? Are you in anxiety? Give time to the child. Unless until you don't give time to the child is not going to come to you. So this is what I thought about your question on, stress related questions.
Completely satisfied with the answer. Thank you so much once again. Sir, we have a few questions from the audience. At this time, I would also like to announce that we are open to questions. So if you have any questions, you can write it down in the chat box. So we have few questions. So question number 1 is from Vidhi. And she asks that giving facilities to the kid is good, or shall we avoid them in order to make him or her stronger or self-sufficient? So shall we give the facilities or shall we not give the facilities? What shall we do?
Thanks a lot, Vidhi, for asking such a wonderful question. Now, as far as I understand, most of the times facilities are something which is not our need. I always say this, prepare the child for the road, not the road for the child. What we try to do is we try to make a smooth road for our child, with all kinds of facilities, so that the child can grow and the child can learn things and things happens very nicely for the child. But the thing is, we have to actually prepare the child to walk on any road. Today you are there to give those facilities, but tomorrow we don't know the facilities are there or not. In that situation, how the child will react. Here in America, the situation is worse, and India is not less than America now. Everything happening here is passing on to India. And people here, the common thumb rule is 16, you're out from the house. So till 16, you are giving nice facilities to the child. And now you're throwing him or her out of the house. What is expected from them? The expectation is that they will definitely go for alcoholic kind of stuffs, intoxications, if they are in depression, if they are in stress. So what is important is children become more resilient. They are more prepared for the world of grown-ups when they are allowed to experience reasonable social stress, challenging situations, and even negative emotions.
Right.
When two children are fighting, don't immediately intervene between the fight. That's not the best training. Kids too need to learn how to resolve conflict. Just don't be there for them every time. I'm going to help you out in this. I'm going to help you out in this. Forcefully. There's a brilliant article. There's a magazine here, a newspaper coming up called Guardian in America. And this newspaper says, it formulates, and he says, it is like an observation of mine that parental mollycoddling is having a lot of harmful effects. Mollycoddling means, providing facilities which may result into over-possessiveness. And I will give one technical example, because now COVID situation is going on. So everyone is into, building up their immune system. Ramdev Baba removed some medicine 6 months back, saying that it is a vaccination for COVID regarding the immunity. He says that if immune system is strong, you can overcome everything. But what about the child's immune system? Here in America, every child, whenever he goes anywhere, the parents say, oh, you are allergic to this. Oh, you are allergic to this. Oh, this happens to you. That happens to you. So the child is not exposed to the environment. I remember in childhood, we were playing in the woods. We were playing with tires. We were playing with so many things which were, not been facilitated by us, by the parents. A child growing in a village, what is the basic need of a child growing in the village? The child needs food, clothes, and shelter. And the mother gives for playing the utensils, or the child goes out and makes his own toys or her own toys. But as soon as we come to the city life, the child is born, the child needs, immediately as the child starts grabbing things, the child needs television, the child needs smartphone, the child needs that. And we say that, oh yes, this is what everything is going on. So let's expose the child to that. So the point I'm trying to tell you is, that when a child is exposed to the environment, the germs, the child's body will get accustomed to fight with those germs. If you're not exposing the child to the environment, the child will be cozy, going to the school, getting up in the house with an AC house or in a heated house, and then gets into the car. Here in America, the life is like that. The child is not exposed to the weather. And when they grow up, they are not able to take those things because their immune system is not. Similarly, you have to work on the immune system of the psychology of the child. Physical health as well as psychological health. And psychological health has to be trained when there is a calculated stress given to the child. So yes, facilities should be our need. Facilities should not force us to increase our need, but decrease our need. They should not be a show off. I think I've answered the question.
Yeah, I think so. To me, the answer is very clear. Thank you, sir. I hope this satisfies Vidhi as well, the answer. So, sir, the next question that we have, and the last question of the day that we have, is till what age shall we do hand holding of the kid? Till what age shall we hold hands with the kids? Or to provide scaffolding to the kids at what age? Till what age?
There is a analysis done here in US. The analysis is like, that anxiety disorders and depressions are found in 20% of the girls. At least one major attack comes in their life. And in UK, recurrent depression among girls has doubled in the last 10 years. And that's not only for the girls, but also for the boys. So hand handling is something which is, we need to understand, as I was talking about Chanakya Pandit, that the age till 10 is the appropriate age to handle the child. And physically, any handling above that age will be only leading the child into more stress. So one of the key point I want to make is, that the problems arises when there is too much, when there are three kinds of things happening. I'll share the slide with you. Just a second. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Sorry for the delay. The problem arises when there are three types of things happening. When there is no action, there is direct action, and there is indirect action. So when I'm talking about no action, what do you mean by that? So many times the parents, they don't do anything to the child. There is no action taken on the child's case. There's let it do, let the child do whatever they want. So there are these three problems, and we are going to just talk in brief about this from the angle of Bhagavad Gita. The question is coming very nice, and we'll talk to this question that once the child is growing, what is important is one has to understand that the direct action problems means, for example, I promised to do something and I did not do it, and that created a problem. Then the capacity to do the corrective action is in my hands, and that is direct action. So that is hand handling. Okay, what I am supposed to do is I am going to improve myself, and that is hand handling, and that will be throughout the life. We'll keep hand handling ourselves to improve our child. The second, so what I have to do is I make that corrective action, and the problem will get solved. The second thing is direct action problems. And direct action means that somebody else is behaving in an improper way, and I cannot force them to do this. So I can simply inspire them. So certain situations are not in our control, and we have to solve them by inspiring. And the third is the no action problem. When we are trying to go out and suddenly there is a storm, for an example, there is nothing we can do it. It's Devi Shakti. So we have to understand that many times we may not be able to do anything for our child. And at that time, we have to tolerate. And Bhagavad Gita says that. Bhagavad Gita talks about tolerance. Bhagavad Gita says in the verse 2.14, Matraspasu Kaunteya Sittushan Sukadukada Agam Paino Nityastam Statikshu Bharata. It says that, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and the disappearance of winter and summer seasons. Now tell me, the mother loves the child so much that the mother is ready to do cooking in the summer without the fan. And she's sweating, but she is in love with the child. She's tolerating. And the mother is filling up water in the villages, they have to go to the well to fill the water. And if there is too much of winter, still the mother is going with all pain and she's doing that. So the seasons of life will change. The children will change from a particular age. You may not just keep thinking, it is the same child, and now why the child is behaving in a different way. Earlier my child was not like that. So hand handling has to be given up in the sense that, in the sense of tolerance. You have to tolerate. The child may try to instigate your anger always, but you have to tolerate. So Krishna is telling to Arjuna, just try to tolerate, just like the mother is tolerating. Mother is tolerating for the child everything. And we have to arise. We have to arise from the perception. The child is playing on the video game and it has been 1 hour. And mother has said that the screen time is for only 1 hour in a day. The child is playing and playing and playing, and mother is shouting and shouting and shouting, and the child is not giving up. And there is a lot of disturbance in the mother's mind. And mothers take the child, catch hold of the child and puts him in a room and says, today you are punished. But the whole idea is what? The child is mad for to instigate you, to test your tolerance. Many times हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना कि भगवान ने इसे पैदा किया है मेरी परीक्षा लेने के लिए. So that's where Bhagavad Gita teaches us, that one must learn to tolerate such situations. Instead of becoming angry physically, we should always try to tolerate and try to change our perception. Try to think about what exactly you can give to the child. And there are certain real solutions which I would like to share with you in this period of pandemic. Generally, we are always away from solutions. We are always talking about problems. So one of the real solution, I'm going to share with you a document in which we have put some points, and those points can be taken as the learnings, some practical material learnings, though Bhagavad Gita is talking about the spiritual understandings, but at the same time we have to be practical. If we are not practical, then what will happen is we'll only become emotional, but will not become practical. So here are some points. So what we have to do is, certain things we have to do. Appreciation for the child. Praise your child when they are behaving well. We will share this document with Manager-Myedubag will send you an email on this document. See, in this COVID time when everyone is so close, here in America, they don't want their children to be at home because they're not used to it. They don't want to be close to them. They want just that, the school should open and my child should go. Whatever happens to my child, no problem. My child should go. And the Indians are saying, no, we will love our child. The child should be at home. So every time the child is at home and we are at home throughout the day and we have to face the child. Shouting at your child will just make you and them more stressed and angrier. Get your child's attention by using their name. Speak in a calm voice. This COVID situation is actually training on ourselves, not on the child. I'll tell you, if you start following Bhagavad Gita in this COVID period, I'm going to tell you, when the child will go back to the school and you will be sitting at home, missing your child, saying that my child was staying with me and I was so close to the child, you will evolve as a great personality, as a great parent, and that's where these understandings we have to work upon. Create a flexible but consistent daily routine. Teach your child about keeping safe distances, and all these things are there. So, when the child misbehave, what you have to do? Don't hate the diseased, hate the disease. Don't hate the child, hate the child's bad things. Catch bad behavior early and redirect your kid's attention from a bad to a good behavior. So these are some practical tips. I don't know how much time do we have.
We are done with the time.
Yeah, we're done with the time. Yeah. So this document I will share with Manager-Myedubag and they will email you.
There are a few questions, Prabhuji, which are unanswered. So what we will do, we have the email IDs of all the parents, and we have your mail ID. We will connect both of you so that we can answer through that platform.
Surely. Thank you so much.
Bhumika.
So just to conclude the session, I would like to thank you, sir. Thank you so much for throwing light on Gita's teaching and
the relationship of parent and child shall be. Thank you for telling us all that. Thank you for giving us insights into what is expected and what shall be expected of the child. No, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhumika. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining, everyone.
Yeah.
Jaipal, thank you. Shalu.